Hi everyone, we are releasing the first alpha of VoxCommando version 2 soon, and I thought it would be a good idea to show you a recommended method for upgrading from version 1 to version 2. So if you're trying VoxCommando 2 for the first time, the first thing I would suggest is that you should try it doing a clean install and play with the preset configurations. However, ultimately, if you have done modifications of your VoxCommando version 1 and set it up the way you like it, you're going to want to try it out with that configuration on version 2. So I'll show you what I recommend that you do. So first of all, I like to have on either my C drive or another hard drive a folder for VoxCommando, and then in that I'll create subfolders for my different configurations or different experiments that I'm doing with new versions and whatnot. So I have here an old configuration of version 1, and in fact this is just the regular Frodo configuration, but I'm using it for an example. So what I would like to do is upgrade this to version 2, and I should mention now that I'm calling the alpha version 1.9xx, and as I work towards something that I consider a release candidate, we will eventually get up to 2.0. But this is sort of my way of gauging our progress as how close am I to calling this a finished product. Then of course we'll continue past 2.0 as we add new features. So without further ado, I will go through the steps. So the first thing you want to do is to protect the installation that you have now in case things go badly. So what I would simply do is copy this folder and then apply my upgrade to the copy. So I'll now call this VC2 Alpha Frodo. And I'll take the new installer for version 2, which is currently at 1.914, and put it in that folder and run it in this folder. Now, you don't have to do that. You can run it and then tell it where you want to install, but this is the simplest way that I found to avoid confusion. So now I just run it in this folder in order to upgrade this folder. And again, I'm doing it in a new copy of the folder, not in my original folder, so I can still go back and use the version 1 that I know works correctly. The actual installation is pretty straightforward. You'll want to agree to the mumbo jumbo. You'll want to note the large red text and the highlighted text, which tells you under no circumstances should you install 2 program files or any other folder that Windows considers protected, because it will start moving things around behind your back. This is a portable installation, as with all other versions of VoxCommando. It is the nature of this portable installation that makes it so easy for us to just copy a folder and start making alternate configurations or experiment with new versions of the program. It's absolutely a wonderful feature, and it's not a shortcoming of the program. So as you can see, it will default to installing to the folder that I was in when I ran the installer, which is what I want. Now, anytime you're doing an upgrade, it's a good idea to clean out all of your old DLL files in case some of them have been moved or changed to new versions. So I've made a little tool that makes this really easy, and it'll detect if you're installing into a folder where there is already a VoxCommando executable in the folder, and if it sees that, it'll offer to clean DLL files, and it'll go through scan all of your subfolders and find all the DLLs, all of the DLLs that it can, and delete them. So at this point, if you have any custom plugins that you've made, for example, some people have would have the HalX DLL, you might want to uncheck it so that it doesn't get deleted. delete the files, and then proceed. And that's it, we're done. If you have this launch VoxCommando checked, when you click finish, it'll bring up a little window that lets you select between the original speech engine, which is still included in VoxCommando and still a very important, valid choice for most English-speaking users. And you have the option of running the speech platform, which is the same program but using a different speech engine, and I will cover that in another video. There are additional steps that you need to take if you want to use the speech platform. This has been disabled because I haven't installed the speech platform. Okay, so let's assume for now that you're still using the original speech engine. So as usual, anytime Vox gets run from a new location or a new install, you do need to create a firewall exception because it relies so much on internet related things. And you're basically done. However, at this point, you will need to enable some plugins because depending on your configuration, we may have moved some of your functionality into a plugin and you'll need to go and enable that plugin. So this is a Frodo install. I don't actually need to do anything. But for example, if you were using Windows Media Center, that's no longer part of the core program. That's now a plugin, so you'd need to come and enable that. The same is true of MediaMonkey. We've also moved our text-to-speech into a plugin, and we've created an alternate plugin that allows you to use the free voices provided by Microsoft as part of their speech platform version 11 server SDK. They tried to make the name longer, but they had trouble coming up with any more words. I think that those are the only things that have been moved to plugins, and currently, although it doesn't necessarily show here, I do have it hard-coded to load the TTS plugin no matter what, because pretty much everyone always wants to have TTS, but that may change in the future. So you can just go ahead and turn it on anyway so that it'll be part of your new configuration. It's not critical. That launcher is running one of two programs, and they're named VoxCommando.exe and VoxCommando.sp.exe. So VoxCommando.exe is version 2, but it's using the original speech engine, that comes installed with Windows Vista and later. And VoxCommando.sp is using the new engine, which is the Microsoft Speech Platform, which you need to install, and I will cover that later. One more thing I should say is that it's always a good idea when you do copy a folder over and upgrade it or make any kind of significant changes that you go and purge your cache to clear out any of your precompiled grammars and then do a full restart. And that'll empty out your old language files and rebuild them using whichever speech engine you've got selected. Thanks for watching, and join us in our next video where I'll go into some more detail about how to use the new speech engine, how to install it, and some of the differences from the old engine.